Cardinal Elle Wyse, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Yeah,
Yeah,
we missed you.
I know. Been busy.
Well, I'm glad you made it back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This is an important topic here.
It is very much so.
There's a lot of injustice in the world, and a lot of it occurs with families.
Yep.
Unfortunately, men are on the receiving end of the injustice,
Hmm.
and they're not benefiting from it at all. Neither are the
No.
children.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, only one side seems to be benefiting from this. It's not even the legal system, it's women
Yep.
who are benefiting from this.
And most of this stems from how, like Me Too and all these lot movements, have manipulated the very justice system so that women who think they're so self-entitled are able to try and get what they want from the system. Luckily, if you have some good judges to see through that and see past that, then justice can be done for the guy instead of the girl. And the thing is, there have been so many cases now where a woman will take a guy to court thinking they're going to get more money out of the guy, and then it backfires.
Yeah, that's not the common occurrence.
No,
That's very rare, and you happen to find,
very few.
yeah, you found one in
Yeah,
particular where justice actually is served.
yeah,
Not just always for men, but where justice is deserved. And oftentimes it is with men.
it
Uh,
is.
that's not to say that all women are evil, but this show reveals that majority are, and that's the truth of it. Um, but like you said, a lot of these women are getting away with it,
Yeah.
and that is what's common in at least where I'm from. And I'm from the Seattle area of Washington State, and I've had to go through family court myself, and the whole system is geared towards women,
Mm-hmm.
and men are immediately portrayed as the bad guy,
Yeah.
and it's not even a guilty till proven innocent. It's guilty the whole way through. You cannot even prove innocence in anything. Men are responsible for everything that happens,
Yeah.
even what happens within their partner's mind.
Yeah.
The man
Exactly.
is responsible for. I was accused of abuse
Mm-hmm.
when there was no evidence of it,
Yeah.
and she even admitted to the judge that she felt threatened.
Yeah.
and
Okay.
and the judge was like, okay, so what did he do? And she's like, well, we argued a lot. And the judge was like,
Couples do.
was he yelling at you? And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah. And then the cross examination came from my attorney. He's like, well, weren't you both yelling at each other? And she said, yeah. So you're saying it was mutual? And then her attorney objects on the count on the what was it, count of relevance,
Yeah.
as if it
Typical.
wasn't relevant. And the judge sided with her
What?
attorney,
Wow.
to say that it wasn't relevant, that we were both arguing with one another.
I mean, couples do argue. It's a fact. And in fact, if you don't argue, your class is not normal. You know, but it's because you've got a passion about how things should be within the relationship, and you want things to go well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of women who use that, and they'll use that as like, oh, the guy's been an aggressor. Now, the thing is, some women don't even say that unless they're also advised to say it by their attorney.
Yeah.
Say he's aggressive, he's this, he's that, he's the other. Because really, let's face it, a lot of the time, a lot of the women haven't got a leg to stand on. But they're advised a lot by the system. Do this, do this, do this, say that. You know,
Yeah.
make him out to be the bad guy. And I mean, when I was a kid, there was a poem type thing that was always said, and I remember it even now, about girls are made of sugar and spice and all things are nice.
Yeah,
But
I've
what
heard
the
that.
little boys are made of? Snobs and snails and puppy dog's tails. And I'm thinking, you know what I mean? That's not a very nice contrast at all to say about the lads, it's not fair.
No.
But some women will take that and say, well, guys are horrible, and, they just get this perception from a very early age. And if they're brought up by the women more than the guys, they're going to start using that, becoming, I hate to say this word, but bitches incarnate, because they will.
Yeah. Well, we've got this video that you wanted me to bring up. There was a few videos you wanted to talk about, and just as I guess you could say like a preamble or introduction, if you will. These court proceedings are not the norm in America. This is an exception. This is where you might actually see some justice. And quite frankly, I wonder if it's even real, because it's so ideal circumstances that's justice is brought towards families. So I want people to keep that in mind, but they do showcase good example or accurate examples of the way these family dynamics occur.
I mean, it took me ages to try to find something that actually where a woman would actually lose out because of the fact that she was trying to play the system and it coming back on her face. And to just find like a few little bits, a few little ones out of hundreds of videos.
Yeah, the best one, it seems, is the one that you found here. It's called Support Court with Judge Vonda B.
She's amazing, cool justice.
Hey, Miss Adams. So tell me about this story that he told. He actually, you wanted to bid, or he wanted to bid.
Well, I think that tells you everything you need to know about his view of relationships is very transactional.
Oh yeah, that's the word I was looking for. That's it, transactional.
Yeah, it's very much I do this and you do that, and I think the fact that he didn't even bother to mention our children's names should tell you everything about our relationship.
Well, he told me the ages.
Yeah, well, that's great. Robert and Madison, that's with a Y.
But she didn't ask for the kid.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Anyway, so going back to, evidently I'm just going to Florida for a permanent vacation. I'm actually going for a job.
All right.
So what's that job?
Robert, and I'm going to be a marine biologist.
So when this dream come apart? Because you ain't had this dream when we met.
See, exactly. Do you ever listen?
Miss Adams, I need you to talk directly to me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Morris, I'm giving you an opportunity to speak. Let me hear what she has to say.
You're right,
and
Judge,
people can change dreams. I mean, depending on how long you guys have been apart, a lot could have changed in our life.
It's just she taking my kids, Judge.
Okay, well, let's hear what she has to say.
You're right.
She said marine biologist, right?
Yes.
That sounds like a really good job, and I want to hear about it, see how much money she makes.
She just having random dreams, Judge, but it's all
okay,
good.
that's great, but I need to see how much money she's making,
Right.
okay?
I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, less talking, more listening.
And you do the same thing. All right, now. Continue.
Jesus.
So I'm taking the kids to Florida because I have a greater job opportunity.
Okay.
And, it's so interesting to me that he says that he sees the kids 4 times a week. I guess he's talking about maybe a FaceTime call or seeing them on his phone screen, because I certainly don't see him picking up the kids and taking them to the doctor and cleaning up vomit in the middle of the night. So it's great that he thinks that that he's paying for the right to see his kids, and that there are people who don't pay child support and who see their kids a whole lot, Judge. That tells you everything you need to know about the transactional nature of relationships. To Mr. Morris. So, look, the fact of the matter is, I guess he doesn't realize that his children are going to need to eat, whether they live in Texas or they live in Florida. And
That's true.
And they're going to need new tennis shoes and new clothes, and I guess he just thinks that money goes on trees, or that kids
Moving
just
the
eat for
kids all
free.
the way out
It's
to
not
Florida.
how it works. This isn't TGI Fridays. So
She's very
the cost of
condescending
living is
of
going to be
him.
higher in Florida.
All right, what are we looking at?
So my rent is going up from $2,000 a month to $2,800 a month,
Okay.
because I have to have a 3-bedroom, because Robert and Madison need their own bedrooms, and of course I have to pay for flood insurance and other things like that.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned food.
Yeah. So the kids eat organic,
Okay.
and they're vegan. And so my grocery bill for them is already close to $800 a month.
Okay.
So his opinion that $880 is too much for the kids is wrong. It is a wrong opinion because your children deserve the nutrition they need to grow up big and healthy and strong so they can be college athletes like you want them to.
Okay, so Miss Adams, you said that your rent is
Attitude.
going up $800.
Yeah.
You have to pay flood insurance. They're
Vegan
the children's
college
diet,
athletes.
They eat organic food and they're vegan. Okay, so are you using the child support for flood insurance and rent too, or are you using it to feed the kids? I just want to make sure I'm clear on what it is that you're saying in regards to his request to get a reduction.
Yes, Your Honor. So the thing is that if I was living in a one bedroom because I was by myself, my rent would be a lot lower.
All right.
But I have to get a 3-bedroom because I have a boy and a girl, and I don't want them sleeping in the same bedroom.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I have to get a 3-bedroom, and so it's not just that, it's my electric bill, it's cell phones, because our 5-year-old has a cell phone, so now I have to make sure that we've got
5-year-old with a cell phone.
her a phone line so she can talk to her dad so he can see her 4 times a week.
No,
on
I mean, yeah,
FaceTime.
she's the queen of good
So
parenting
about that,
choices.
He said that he sees the children now 4 times a week, and you're saying that's not true, except for like a FaceTime video or something like that.
He sees the kids on an inconsistent basis.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Okay. So when you say inconsistent, right now, do you all operate under a standard order where it's like first, third, and fifth?
He has every weekend, and I have during the week.
Okay, so every weekend he has.
Right.
Okay. During that every weekend, it's inconsistent, is what you're saying?
I mean, it's just all over the place. He just comes and goes and sees the kids whenever it's convenient to him, or maybe his girlfriend like turns him down for a date or whatever.
Okay, so that was petty.
What girlfriend you talking about?
We didn't have to go there. We didn't have to go there. So is that what the issue is? Like, you're still mad at him about that story that he told?
Well, okay, so he put in a bid for an upgrade, or the upgrade put in a bid for him, or whatever, and now I have to explain to our son why our family fell apart.
Oh. So it's some hurt feelings there.
Other issues.
I understand.
Yeah.
So,
That's the
have
real
you
issue
already
right there.
moved to Florida, or is this something that you're intending on doing pretty soon?
Well, I took the job offer, and I've already found an
So the
apartment.
answer is yes. You pretty much already.
Everything but the U-Haul, Your Honor.
Okay. So in your court order, do you have a geographic restriction because Dad lives here?
Yes, but he
That's it, right there.
Yeah,
Geographic restriction on the court order.
exactly.
This whole thing about her moving to Florida, it's against a court order.
Yep.
And she thinks that she's justified in doing this because of all these petty arguments she has about his relationship choices and all this other crap. Fortunately,
She should have actually made a point of reading the conditions first
yeah,
before that, and it just shows how ignorant she really is as well.
and entitled.
And entitled, yeah.
Yeah, she thinks that the whole system bends to her will because of her petty arguments.
Yep.
She's about to find out the hard way. That's not how it works.
Yep.
He moved just outside of Ellis County, so he's just outside of the geographic restriction, so it's technically lifted, Your Honor.
Okay. And technically is what you said, but is that what your court order says?
Well, the court order says Dallas and contiguous counties, and he moved like a mile on the other side of the Ellis County line.
Okay. And I do have a copy of your court order here, and it doesn't mention that it's automatically lifted.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just thinking it was the one that.
O is right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
O
Thank
is
you.
right.
I'm sorry.
O is right. Because you can't just leave. You can't just do that. You actually have to ask permission to modify this order like he did.
Well, can I modify the order to move to Florida?
Did you file anything for today?
I mean,
It's a yes or no.
No.
Okay. So you're moving without asking the court, can you move? And Dad is still living here.
Well, I guess I just didn't understand the way the order was written because
guess.
I had heard that if he moved outside of where it said, then I could move out.
Who did you hear that from? Did you Google? You did one of those Google searches? One of the Google lawyers told you that?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. Because they told you wrong, and that's the problem with Googling everything. You should have actually consulted with an attorney who would have interpreted this order properly to you. You can't just move. So let me tell you what we're going to do, because I think this is the fair thing to do. Regardless to whether you say his visits are inconsistent, he say they're consistent, The reality of it is when you move to Florida, he can no longer have access to those kids. So even if he were coming this day, and did every weekend, he won't be able to do that anymore now that you are going to move to Florida. So what I'm not going to touch is your custody arrangement. Not going to touch that at all. This is a child support court. That has nothing to do with us, okay? So I'm not going to touch it at all. You are free to move to Florida. However, he's coming off child support. So then he can use the money, the $880 or so that he would give you for child support, he can use that to travel to actually see the kids.
But what if he doesn't, Your Honor?
Well, if he doesn't, then after some time of him not doing it consistently, and when I say consistently and consecutively, it needs to at least be about 6 months or something like that, right? Then you can come back and let me know, Judge, he's not exercising regularly. I need some support for these 2 kids, right? But absent anything like that, I believe that's in the best interest of the children, and quite frankly, that's fair. You're moving without permission, right? Which is a violation of your court order. So it's only fair that he stops paying child support. So beyond a reduction, he's coming off child support today. Now you will have to keep maintaining the health insurance, okay?
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, so that, what is it, $362?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll still continue to pay the health insurance, but there will be no child support paid from him to you. Hopefully you guys can come to an agreement.
That's the plan, Your Honor. Once we leave, I plan on giving her a call so we can try to talk about things and kind of get on a good level with each other.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that can work. And who knows, your job may transfer up here and you may end up being back in Dallas anyway. Now, if that happens, you all would need to come back because then we need to look at something different about what child support.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's backed into a corner, and now she has to deal with him. Now she has to negotiate and compromise. This notion of equality is rearing its ugly head.
I just love the way it backfired on her because she thought she can get more money off him, etc. And yeah.
No, we're equal here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Equal opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I like this judge because she has actually put that lady in her place. And I say lady loosely because she shouldn't have actually brought this to court.
Lady with all her face piercings and arm tattoos.
Yeah.
She couldn't even cover up her.
Attitude like that.
Yeah, no. She wasn't ready to go into that courtroom that day. Not in any way, shape, nor form. So, there was another video that you posted to me. How do we introduce this one? This is the one with the attorney.
Yeah.
With the drinking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not the man. No. She makes quite a bit of money, and she's looking to get some child support.
And you think
You all may be
that
seated.
she would
Okay,
know better.
Mrs. Williams, you brought
No.
this case before the court. What's going on?
You would think she
ma'am.
knows better.
We
Yeah.
have 3 children together.
Obviously
I
not.
have not received any child support from him. Our children go to private school. They play sports, dance lessons, singing lessons. They're very active, and it's very expensive. We do share custody and time, but I pay for private school. He pays for health insurance, and that's all. I pay for everything else.
What kind of money you make to be paying all of that?
I'm an attorney.
Oh, okay.
But I'm used to a certain lifestyle. I mean, I can't even afford to get my nails done, my hair done. It's embarrassing. because
You're an
I'm spending-
attorney,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you can afford tuition, but not to get your nails done.
Because all my money's going to the tuition and all of their extracurricular activities. I've been sacrificing the things that I'm used to that I was able to do before when we were still together and we had that combined income. And now all my money's going to the kids, and I don't have any money left for the lifestyle that I've been accustomed to, and getting my nails done and my hair and massages and things like that.
It's still not making sense to me, but okay. Is
Just me, or does
that
she
all
look
you
like
wanted
she's
to
on the
let me know
verge of
before I move
tears?
over to him?
Look, can't get my
Okay.
nails done
Mr.
or my
Williams,
hair done.
Make this make sense.
You know,
It's just one of those
although
things
she
always
makes more
wants to-
money,
her nail gets
she has an
broken,
extravagant
and it's like a
lifestyle.
major
The hair, the
event.
nails,
It's like,
the
oh, my nail's
massage.
broken.
Did she even tell you about the personal chef or the maid that she has come clean the house every week?
So now it's making sense. Okay.
And let alone the drinking problem that you have,
Drinking
the
problem.
weekly stops to the liquor store to have a curbside pickup. Come on now.
He's telling the truth, isn't he?
Well, you know, after being in
that
court all
wasn't my
day,
question. He's telling the truth, isn't he?
I do like to have a cocktail now and then.
So the answer is yes.
yes.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere about, And you brought him to court
Yes.
for child support.
Yes, ma'am.
How much money do you make?
$70,000 a year. I make $100,000 less than she does.
But again, I pay for pretty much everything. The only thing he pays for the kids is the health insurance. I pay for everything.
Health insurance is pretty important. You'd agree with me, right?
It is, and I appreciate that. I do. But I don't want to pull my kids from private school or take them out of the things that they love to do because I can't afford it.
Right, and don't say that again because you can afford it. If what he's saying is true, you're getting your nails done, you're going on trips, you're doing all of these other things, especially going to the liquor store. Alcohol is not cheap. You can afford it. You're just choosing to do something other than what you should be doing, which is taking care of these children. Now, how often are you all, I'm assuming you don't live together anymore, right? Correct. All right. How often are you all exchanging the children?
We have them equally, so that'll be 2 weekends a month.
Okay.
Shared
All right,
custody.
yeah. You came in here to waste my time. I'm not getting ready to play with you. I am not going to make him pay you child support when you make $100,000 more than he does. You didn't object when he said you make $100,000 more than him, so he's telling the truth, right? Yeah. What kind of lawyer are you? Never mind. So
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do. I am going to base child support
I would answer that a dumb
off
one.
of what's called an offset, okay? So I'm going to do
Not
the
the
child
good
support
kind.
calculations for the both of you and subtract it. And the difference is going to go to the person who makes more, which is you, all right? So with 200,000, excuse me, and 70,000, is that correct? Okay. So for mom, I have your gross. You actually cap out. So your gross is about $12,325.35. Dad, your gross is $5,833.33, bringing your net to $9,200 for you, $4,664.67 for you. Health insurance, you pay it, how much is it?
It's $100 a month.
Okay, you're going to split that. So $50 for you, $50 for you. Mom, your child support obligation comes down. Well, hold on. How many children? 2 children, right?
We have 3 children between us and 4 total.
3 children, 4 total. Who has the other child? Okay. Thank you for telling me that because that reduces your child support obligation and increases yours. So the difference in adding the health insurance, it comes out to $1,533 per month. And Mrs. Williams, that's what you're going to be ordered to pay to him.
Maybe she shouldn't have had
Any
that cocktail
questions about
before
that?
going in the courtroom that day.
yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions about anything I just
Whoops.
said?
No, ma'am.
That's what you call
Okay.
a big
Well, if there's nothing
backfire.
further, you all are dismissed.
Yeah, dismissed.
I love the smile on his face as well because he realises justice.
Well, he's now within the $100,000 a year bracket for income. He now has a 6-figure income
Exactly.
thanks to his ex.
Yep.
He's getting child support. You might as well call that alimony.
Yep.
But that's basically what that woman was seeking. She was looking for alimony. She's calling it child support, but when she was listing all the things that she wanted to do that she couldn't do because she couldn't afford it, that's alimony. That's not child support. So she's in the wrong courtroom for that.
Yeah, I think she's done it to try and sway the system by using the children as a means of hammering her ex-husband. And like I said, it's backfired. Because yes, alimony is one thing, but child support has a bit of an essence because you're trying to say your children need some more support for some reason. But she's failed miserably because all she's done is show the court how greedy and self-centered she truly is. Especially, I can't get my nails done. Can't get the chef
I'm sorry, I'm getting flashbacks. I'm gonna try and get away from these traumatic experiences. Oh my goodness, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can relate to some of this stuff, but very few, if any, could relate to the justice actually being served.
Yeah.
But that is something that we anticipate will happen in the new kingdom. Not only will justice be served, but certain types of people won't be allowed to have children.
Yeah.
It will be physically impossible for people to have children without permission.
Right.
And I think that is a good introduction towards our next case that we're going to bring up here, because there's a prime example here of why people shouldn't be having kids.
Oh, definitely. And she should not, definitely not have any kids. She's very, very immature with her attitude. She obviously thinks she's still young enough to party or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Let's let her
yeah, I think
speak for herself. I mean,
they'll see.
shouldn't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay. Here we go.
You all may be seated. Okay, Mr. Sanchez, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Okay, Your Honor. I'm want to sue her for child support because, my kids are always with me, and she's always at work. She's always working for the hospital. We said back then that we could do this together as one. I went so much as far as swapping complete schedules. I started doing overnight shift now, just so I can be there for my kids and everything. And she was supposed to be working for mornings, which she was, but she volunteered for more hours, and even when she's not at work, she's just never home. I don't know where she is. She doesn't call us. She doesn't call our kids. My kids are always wondering where she's at, and I myself, sure, she can do what she wants as long as she lets me know where she is for her own safety. But my kids always wonder where she's at. They always for days at a time. She's never home, and we broke it off several weeks ago, and only with my income alone, I can't really just do it with just me and my kids, especially that one has autism. I've always got to take her to the doctor and whatnot. And for these past 3 weeks, I have not seen or heard from her, even as so much as trying to help out with the kids or anything like that. So I can't get. I'm surprised she's even here at court today.
Okay, when you say kids, how many?
I have two.
Two, all right.
You mean we? Like you?
No, I have two.
Ma'am, I'm addressing him. So he answered appropriately, and you'll have your opportunity to speak, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right. So you said you changed your job to now you work overnight?
Yes.
What is it that you do?
I drive an 18-wheeler. I drive locally. I deliver hospital supplies.
Okay, so I'm assuming that's how you all met.
Beforehand, but we had the same interest in the medical field.
Okay. All right. And how long has it been since you all stopped living together?
It's been, I want to say, a month and a week already.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want me to know before I move over to her?
She just, for as long as I can remember, about 2 years now, she's just never been wanting to come home really. And honestly, I've caught her having some painkillers that I would only assume she's taken from the hospital she works at. She's either on painkillers or sometimes I'll find needles around and whatnot. So I know she works at a hospital, so she's got to get the drugs from there.
Okay. Is there anything else you want me to know?
I just hate that it's really around the kids. The kids find it before I do most of the time.
Oh my.
Yes.
Ma'am?
I mean, I'm not sure where he's getting this intel from, but that's
Obviously
not
the
true.
kids.
I mean,
Are you saying your kids are liars?
they could be. I'm not sure.
You're not sure because you're not around that much?
I am around. I just have to work all the time. It's not my fault that, saving lives isn't important to him.
No, I believe it is important to him. I don't think that's
Deflection.
what he's saying. He's
Classic.
saying that you're not contributing anything.
I am, though. Like, I feed them or sometimes, and
Or
You
sometimes.
feed them? You'd agree with me that that's your
Feed them or
responsibility, right?
sometimes.
She brings them fast food and leaves again.
okay, but it's food, though.
Fast food.
So you don't sit there and spend quality time with your kids You say, here's food, and leave.
I mean, the tablet works just fine. They can just eat and watch the tablet. Like, why is that a problem?
Because
So you want to raise a child off of a tablet? You think that's
I mean,
okay?
they have educational stuff. I don't see what's wrong with it. Like, I need to go to sleep at some point in time.
Interesting.
me personally, myself, I sit there with my kids and I open a book with them and I help them with their homework. I feed them. I'm not much of a good cook, but I do what I can to put food on the table and spend time with
nobody's
them.
there denying
I
what
lose-
he's
It
saying.
doesn't matter if I lose sleep over it. I mean, that's why I
Only
went to
confirming
overnight,
it.
because I want to spend time with my kids. I
He
went to
changed
overnight.
his shift to
As he
spend more
should.
time
He's
with
a
the
dad.
kids. As
but-
you should. You're a mom. The audacity.
Audacity.
I mean, but I have a more important job.
I mean, how many times are you going to say that? I mean, you have the audacity to say that he's a dad and he should do these things, but you're the mom and not doing these things. He changed his shift. Why can't you?
Because it's inconvenient to me.
I've actually heard a couple times to where she says, "I gave birth to him. It's your job to take care of him."
You believe that?
Yes.
Interesting. Wow. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Her family must be so embarrassed by
are
her
going
behavior.
to financially support these children, and I'm going to make sure of it today. And you may want to look into trying to do a shift change yourself
She might want to look
so
into
you
getting
can spend some time with the kids. I mean,
therapy,
obviously, I can't
some
court order you or
drug and
force
alcohol
you to
counseling,
spend
maybe.
time with them, but you should want to spend time with the kids.
mean,
and I mean,
well,
considering that one of them
Sorry.
Yeah.
has autism,
Yeah.
you should want to spend more time with your kids.
I mean, I get it, but it's too much work having a kid with autism. That's why I just leave it to him, because he's better suited for that.
Right, yeah, no. I'm not about to do this game with you. Since you left a month and a week ago, have you given him any money for the children? I don't need an explanation either. It's a yes or no.
No.
Okay, thank you. All right.
She's actually asked for money instead of giving.
And then you have the nerve to ask for money and the kids are with him?
I mean, he has an obligation to give me support.
You know what? I'm not about to play with you. You came here to waste my time because you have the same obligation to your kids. He should not be paying you anything if the kids are with him majority of the time. If they're living with him, if he is the primary parent, he is tasked with the daily duties of caring for these kids. He shouldn't pay you anything, ma'am. And it is ridiculous that you believe that he should. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. This is what we're going to do. How much money you make a year?
$60,000.
Okay, $60,000. All right. Health insurance.
That's about I just have the individual. He has a family one under his plan. So I just
Yes.
pay 80 every 2 weeks.
Okay, health insurance. Is it private health insurance? Is the children under Medicaid? What are we
It's
doing?
Medicaid.
Medicaid?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to have to pay that back to Medicaid, just FYI, unless you want to put them on private health insurance, which I don't see why you would have a problem with it. You're a nurse. You have access to private health insurance, right?
Yes.
So why did you just get an individual plan when you have a family? That was a question.
Because it's his job to take care of them, and I shouldn't have to spend
You know what?
money.
Don't say that again about what his responsibilities are and what his job is, because you're a mom, period.
I mean, but I didn't sign up for it. Like,
Countless times I've told her, yes, it is my job to take care of our children.
And you're
as a
doing
dad. And I'm doing well beyond.
She's not disputing that you're doing that,
Yes, and I feel
but
like
you're not doing your part.
I feel like I'm always not doing enough for my kids.
I mean,
It's
but you
only
also
because I don't
forced
have
me
my
to have
The difference
kids.
of
Like, I don't
being
know why
a
you're doing that.
Because-
Progenitor
You
and a
don't want to
parent.
have your kids.
I mean, like, when I was pregnant, I told him I didn't want him because I wasn't
Biological
supportive,
parent and a caregiver,
he
you
was
know.
just like,
Yeah.
"You got this
She
I mean,
just
I-
she just
like-
held it in her womb for
Yeah.
9 months, and then that
He's
was it.
absolutely amazing. She's bloody awful. Because, like I said about the contrast, he's an amazing guy. He knows his responsibilities as a parent. He is a decent man. She's an awful woman. And I'm glad that he has the kids, because she is temperamental to those children. fact that she's taking drugs from her workplace and the kids are finding them. So, you know, I think that there should be more to this.
Just the fact that she needed a court to tell her that she needs to be a responsible parent.
Yeah.
Or what it means to be a responsible parent.
That's why I'm so glad that there's only like the royalty and ability that will help me able to have the children in the new kingdom. Because, let's face it, there's been, with the human race the way it is, when you look, come on guys, when you look at, say, your local area, and you know about the women that are in those areas that are having the children, they are irresponsible. They're like kids themselves. They are very, very immature. And you wonder why in society the children have gone to become like latchdoor kids, that they are out there committing crimes. It's because they haven't got that nuclear family as it's supposed to be. That hierarchy of the parents being in charge, and the main person being in charge is the man.
Yeah, that family dynamic's been utterly destroyed in Western culture, and what little remains is being strongly discouraged by the system itself.
Yeah.
And very few people, if any, are standing up against that. Mm-hmm. And it's set to be a large contributor in the destruction of American society. Mm-hmm. So that's happening. And that's like the fuse is already lit and the bomb's about to explode, if it hasn't already in some ways, which it kind of has. Mm-hmm. But it's showing us an example of how things can be, how things shouldn't be, what will need to change, and why.
Exactly.
And that kind of brings us into a topic where you had a planned discussion for next week.
Yeah, certainly.
We were going to talk a little bit about narcissistic manipulation.
Yes.
And this is again about relationship dynamics. Mm-hmm. Particularly, it does apply to both. It does apply to both genders, but particularly it applies majority with women. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're not deliberately misogynistic here, but it might seem like we are because men get the raw end of the deal quite often.
They certainly do. The thing is, with narcissistic behaviours, in my opinion, from what I have known throughout my life, with experiencing men and women, the way that they are characteristic-wise, being in relationships myself, where I've had to deal with people that are narcissistic, I find that the women are actually more narcissistic than the men.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think we can kind of see where that comes from. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like the princess mentality to think like that they're brought up being as though they are noble by default, like the Cinderella syndrome. Yeah. That someone's going to come rescue them from their shitty lifestyle that they've been a part of for generations, that somehow they are worthy of better, simply by virtue of a shoe fitting them, or something ridiculous like that. But it's not the truth of it. It's a pure fantasy, and it's a fantasy that's imposed upon them by a giant media conglomerate. And giant media conglomerates have an agenda. Yeah.
I mean, just for example, I call it the Black Widow syndrome. Mm-hmm. Because a Black Widow will create that layer and allow the prey to come in.
Yeah.
Now, with women that are narcissistic, they're using their femininity beyond a certain level to lure men in, their victims, to like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me attitude.
Yeah.
And they'll lure it in. And then once they've got that person ensnared, they'll start to do the abuse syndrome.
And there's this particular tactic
Correct.
that you wanted to show it as like a preview for next
Yeah,
week.
because I find that this is going to be very, very important issue to bring up, particularly probably not just next time, but the time after that as well.
Okay.
Because it's very, very important.
All right, let me bring this up real quick and see what this nice lady has to say.
Form of psychological abuse known as reactive abuse. Reactive abuse happens when the victim of narcissistic abuse has a reaction to the abuse they're being exposed to. The narcissist will try to convince the victim that they are the actual abuser because of their reaction. They do this to use as proof that the victim is mentally ill or unstable or crazy. And if it's successful, the true abuser is actually able to convince the victim that the abuse they are being subjected to is their fault. Over time, the victim will become more and more dependent on their abuser's interpretation of reality instead of their own perceptions and experience. It grooms and conditions the victim to feel deep levels of guilt and shame about themselves. All narcissists subject their victims to a very severe form of psychological abuse known as reactive abuse.
Reactive abuse. Okay. So I suppose that's one of the main topics we're going to be discussing next week.
Exactly, yes.
But not just reactive abuse, but some of these other tactics that they use.
The other tactics as well. Yes,
So,
because,
and this is to help people to identify these things
Yes.
if they happen in their own lives and how to deal with them in a healthy way.
Correct.
Hopefully in a way that can bring some kind of resolution in their
Yes,
relationship
hopefully.
and not just simply running away from it.
Yeah.
I think from my personal experience, and being a narcissist myself in recovery, I hope, God willing, is the self-actualization, the self-realization, seeing myself clearly and seeking knowledge about what I've done wrong
Yeah.
so that I can change for the benefit of other people, I think is the most important part of recovery for anything that's going on within a person psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Exactly, yes.
And narcissism is like, it's a symptom of a spiritual malady that is occurring within majority of people across the entire planet.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't realize it. They are in denial of it. And hopefully we can help each other to recover from this plague of narcissism.
Yeah, I hope so, because there are many out there that don't even realise they're narcissistic as well. They
Yeah.
put it down to something else.
This might be the most important topic that we've ever covered on this
Yeah.
show. And so I look forward to working with you on this. And
Excellent.
hopefully we can go into greater depth in ways that will help people to be better to each other, to
Amen
love
to that.
God and to love each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
And
Thank
if we don't see you Sunday, which I hope we do,
Yeah.
we got an important topic on Sunday. I hope you get to see you there. But we'll also see you next week on Thursday.
Yes,
God
excellent.
willing. Yep. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been an enlightening experience.
Oh.
Thanks to Sister Ellie, and thank you for joining us. Love God, love each other. In the name of the returned Christ, Lord Rael.